Have you ever considered that a single unconscious sentence could permanently impact your health, not only hurting others but slowly eroding you from the inside? Stay until the end to understand why your words can either be a form of healing or a silent poison affecting both your body and mind. If words are the tools used to build your life, are you building a solid castle or unknowingly shattering the very foundation you stand on? Keep watching this video to discover how every word you speak is shaping your future, your health, and the relationships around you. Have you ever blurted something out and wished just seconds later that you could take it back? Maybe it was a spontaneous outburst during anger, a passing comment with lasting consequences. It may have cost you a relationship, caused you to miss an opportunity, or worse, made you question your own ability to stay in control. Words hold far more power than we often realize. Sometimes, just one sentence can completely change how others see you, treat you, and value you. If you stay with me until the end of this journey, you will discover a skill that can change the way you communicate, the way people listen to you, and even how they respect you. That skill is mastering your words. Many people think that watching what you say is just a way to avoid trouble, but it's much more than that. When you control your words, you step into a level of influence and confidence that very few people ever reach. Have you ever noticed? Our lives, from success to relationships to opportunity, all revolve around one key factor: communication. The way you speak determines whether or not you truly connect with others. One sentence can make someone your ally or turn them into an enemy. It can bring you closer to success or push you further away. The problem is, most people don't really control what they say. They let their emotions take the lead. They react instead of thinking. And when the moment passes, all that's left is regret and consequences. It's easy to blame the situation, to say stress pushed you over the edge, to say pressure made you snap, to say someone else hurt you so you lashed out. But no matter the excuse, every word you speak is a choice. You choose to say it. And by doing so, you also choose how the world sees you. A single sentence can make others see you as composed, strong, and wise, or as someone unstable, impulsive, and untrustworthy. Remember this: words are permanent. You can delete a message, but you cannot erase the emotional impact of something you said. People do not forget how your words made them feel. One sentence said in anger can stay etched in someone's memory for years. And once harm is done, no amount of apology can fully remove the scar it leaves. But here's the beautiful part: if words can destroy, they can also heal. If words can wound, they can also build, inspire, connect, and open doors that last a lifetime. The key lies in whether or not you can control them. Imagine this: from today onward, you become someone whose words carry weight. You don't speak often, but when you do, people stop and listen. You don't react impulsively. You speak with intention. And in doing so, you no longer need to raise your voice to be heard. Your presence and your choice of words earn others' respect. They trust you because they know you never waste your words. And the best part? You don't need to become someone else to do this. You simply need to train yourself to take ownership of your words, so that everything you say not only serves your purpose, but becomes a tool to help you achieve the life you truly desire. So how do you start controlling what you say? How do you stop letting emotions run the show every time you speak? How do you make sure your words come out at the right moment, with the right weight, and with the right impact? Before we find those answers, there's something very basic you need to understand first. Why do we say things we don't even mean to say in the first place? Most people believe they have control over what they say. But if that were truly the case, why do so many people regret what they've said just moments after speaking? Why do careless words tend to surface at the worst possible times? The answer lies in how our brains work. The human mind is not programmed for wisdom. It is programmed for survival. When we face stress, conflict, or intense emotions, the brain doesn't pause to analyze. It simply reacts. It throws out words as a way to release pressure, as a defense mechanism with no concern for long-term consequences. And that's when the damage is done. Because what we say in moments of impulse is rarely wise. Those words are driven by emotion, not by logic. That's why we often say things we don't truly mean when we're angry. Why we make promises we can't keep in the heat of excitement. Why we speak too soon and later wish we hadn't. It's not because you are a bad person. It's because your mind hasn't yet been trained to pause before speaking. The truth is, the strongest people are not the ones who speak the most. They are the ones who think before they speak. They don't let emotions lead them. They understand the weight of words. They know that once something is said, it cannot be taken back, so they wait, they observe. They listen to themselves and to the other person before choosing how to respond. It is in that stillness that they reclaim their power. And as a result, they are heard, they are respected, and they carry true influence. So if you've ever felt impatient, quick-tempered, or prone to saying things you regret, don't worry. You are not alone. And more importantly, you can absolutely change that. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the real reason why words slip out of control so easily, and the common mistakes nearly everyone makes in everyday communication. But the amazing part is, once you recognize the cause, you'll know exactly how to overcome it. We've already seen that the person who controls their words is also the one who controls how others perceive them. But for most people, that level of self-mastery feels out of reach. Why? Because from a young age, we are raised in an environment that encourages emotional expression on the spot. We are taught that feelings are real and must be expressed immediately. Media, social networks, and everyday conversations all reward quick reactions over thoughtful responses. And yet, those with true inner strength take a different path. They don't respond out of habit. They don't speak just to fill silence. They understand something important. Not everything needs to be said. And that is power. That is discernment. That is wisdom. So the big question becomes, if our brains are so used to reacting quickly, how do we train them to pause? How do you hold your words back for just a few seconds, yet save a relationship, protect an opportunity, or preserve your dignity? The answer lies here. It's not just about learning how to speak. It's about learning the art of self-mastery. And once you grasp this, you'll never communicate the same way again. Because the truth is, words are not just sound, they are energy. They touch the minds of others, sending waves of emotion that cannot be seen with the naked eye but linger long after the conversation ends. One sentence can lift someone when they're down, or push them deeper into despair. And once those words are released, they cannot be taken back. There is no delete button for what has been spoken. Think about it. How many relationships have been ruined by one thoughtless remark? How many dreams have been crushed by a moment of anger? How many hearts still carry wounds not from actions, but from words that cut like knives? Verbal wounds can haunt us and hurt more than any physical blow. Psychology has proven something both fascinating and sobering. The human mind remembers pain more vividly than joy. People may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. A harsh criticism, a cruel insult, a single lie. Those things don't disappear, they stay. They echo in the minds of others even after you've long forgotten you ever said them. But it's not just others who get hurt. Every word you speak also rewires your own mind. When you constantly complain, you're reinforcing negative neural pathways in your brain. When you engage in gossip frequently, you're training yourself to focus on flaws instead of growth. When you speak harshly without thinking, you lose trust not only from others, but also from within yourself. Because deep down, you know exactly when you've crossed the line. You know when your words have caused someone pain. And that regret, no matter how small, lingers quietly over time. It builds into guilt, self-doubt, and eventually weakens your inner strength. It's no coincidence that those who carry a strong presence and earn deep respect are often calm and deliberate with their words. They don't say everything they think. They choose their words carefully because they understand that language can build, but it can also destroy. And true power lies not in saying everything, but in knowing when to stay silent. When you gain control over your words, you don't just avoid conflict. You're building a completely different kind of power, the kind that comes from respect. Respect for yourself, respect for others, and respect for the shared emotional space between you and those around you. It is a form of inner discipline, the ability to stay grounded before emotions erupt. It is the first step toward mastering yourself in a world where most people are swept away by emotional storms. And the beautiful thing is, once you step into that journey, you begin to feel a shift in the way you live. Your words no longer work against you. They begin to work for you. They shape the image you want others to see. They open doors instead of closing them. They become tools for connection, persuasion, and influence. So what exactly is happening inside your mind each time you speak? Science has shown that every word you say isn't just heard by others. Your subconscious mind is also listening, recording every word. Every sentence, every statement you make becomes a command that your brain uses to shape your emotions, your self-image, and even your future. If you say, "I'm not good enough," you're giving your brain an instruction to believe you're inadequate. If you say, "My life is full of problems," your mind will begin seeking out more problems to confirm that belief. Words create mental patterns. And those patterns shape your emotions, actions, and the way you see the world around you. Even more than that, your words affect how others treat you. People reflect the energy you give off. When you speak with confidence, they see you as trustworthy. When you hesitate, they doubt you. When you constantly complain or express negativity, they begin to distance themselves. That's why successful people are so careful with their words. They don't waste energy on complaints, arguments, or gossip. They know their words are either building them up or tearing them down, and most importantly, they understand that their words shape their own mind before they influence anyone else. And that is only the surface of the truth about words. We've taken a deeper look at the power of speech and how it silently shapes the world around us. Now, it's time for you to sincerely ask yourself, what kind of language are you using when you speak to yourself each day? Are your words lifting you up or slowly tearing you down? Are they leading to solutions or just complicating the problems? The answers to those questions will tell you clearly why your life is unfolding the way it is. Because the truth is simple, yet so often overlooked. Change the way you speak, and you'll change the way you think. And once your thinking changes, your entire life will follow. One of the strongest signs of true self-control is silence. In today's world, many believe that the most powerful person is the one who talks the most, the one who always has the last word in an argument. But the truth is quite the opposite. The strongest person is not the one who speaks the most, but the one who knows when to stay silent. Silence does not mean you have nothing to say. It is not weakness or retreat. It is inner strength, self-control, and a form of maturity rooted in confidence. It is when you choose to pause while others rush to react. It is when you observe while others scramble to speak. And it is when you take time to think carefully while others let their words run ahead of their thoughts. When you master the power of silence, you hold an advantage far beyond those still ruled by emotion. Most people speak just to fill the void. They speak because they cannot bear the silence. They speak because they fear being left out. They speak because they are desperate for validation. But someone who is truly confident is different. They do not need words to prove anything. Their presence alone commands attention. Think of someone you truly admire. Are they the kind of person who talks constantly? Or are they the type who speaks only a few words and yet captures the full attention of everyone in the room? These people do not speak for attention. They speak with purpose, with clarity, and with depth. That is because they understand the value of every word, and the fewer words they use, the more powerful those words become. But silence is not just an external behavior, it is an inner discipline. It is the ability to stay calm when you are boiling inside. It is the ability to hold back unnecessary words because you know they will only make things worse. It is the ability to take a step back and see things clearly instead of getting pulled into the whirlwind of emotional reactions. In a world that constantly pushes people to respond instantly and loudly, choosing silence is not easy. But it is precisely because it is not easy that it becomes a true mark of strength. When you choose to stay silent, you allow others to reveal more about themselves. You remain in control, in a position of power. And most importantly, you protect your strength instead of losing it to careless speech. That is why people often say, the less you speak, the more your words are worth. Because not everyone has the courage to speak less and still leave an impact. However, to do this, you must first understand one thing clearly. What truly causes you to lose control? Why do we say things we should not, especially in high-pressure moments? Be honest. Have you ever said something in anger and immediately regretted it? You knew you should not have said it, yet it still came out. Not because you did not know right from wrong, but because you did not stop in time. It was not intentional. It was reflex. The reason is that emotion often outruns logic. Your brain, biologically speaking, is wired for survival, not calm reasoning. When you are under pressure, when someone hurts you, or when a situation feels unfair, your body reacts instantly. Stress hormones like cortisol flood your system. Your heart races, your muscles tighten, and the words come out uncontrolled. You are not speaking from clarity, you are speaking from defense. And that is when mistakes happen. You say things you do not truly mean. You throw accusations without considering the outcome. You raise your voice in anger just to release the tension, but that release can shatter a relationship. In those moments, your brain is not thinking about long-term consequences. It is focused only on short-term relief. And it is at that point where many people lose themselves. They lose the trust of others. They break the image they worked so hard to build. All because they let emotion speak before their reason could catch up. And here is a simple but powerful truth. When you control your emotions, you can control your words. If you lose control of your emotions, you will lose control of your words, and once your words are no longer yours to command, they will begin to command you. Words can heal, but they can also wound deeply. They can open doors of opportunity, but they can just as easily slam those doors shut if not used wisely. That is why emotional control is not just a helpful skill. It is the foundation of all influence. The key lies in one very specific thing: awareness. The moment you realize that you are being led by emotion, you are given a golden opportunity. That is the moment when you can separate yourself from a reactive pattern and choose a conscious response. Just that one moment can return full control back into your hands. Because strong people are not those who never feel angry or hurt. They are the ones who refuse to let those emotions dictate their actions. When you practice this consistently, you will not only learn to regulate your emotions, you will also gain control over your words. And once you can master what you say, your life will begin to change in ways you never imagined. We've just discussed how most people fail to control their words because they are driven by emotions. So how do you stop yourself at the right moment before your words turn into weapons that hurt yourself and others? The answer lies in one incredibly simple principle that has the power to change the way you respond: the 5-second rule. At first glance, it may seem like nothing special, but those short 5 seconds can create a distinct difference between someone who loses control and someone who leads themselves with clarity. Most people react almost instantly. They don't think. They let emotions flood in like a dam bursting, and in just a heartbeat, thoughtless words slip out. What follows? Regret, remorse, and apologies that may or may not be accepted. But what would happen if you just paused for 5 seconds before responding? What if those 5 seconds were the boundary between a tense confrontation and a calm conversation? Between losing trust and building respect? This is where the 5-second rule reveals its power. It's simple. Before you react, silently count from 1 to 5. Nothing more. Just pause. Breathe. And give your reasoning a chance to catch up with your emotions. Those 5 seconds create a precious buffer between you and a reckless response. Why does this work? Because even the most intense emotions are temporary. Science shows that anger, frustration, or even overwhelming excitement usually lasts only a few seconds at its peak. But if you act during that emotional surge, the consequences can last a lifetime. What you say in a single emotional moment can stay in someone's memory for years, sometimes forever. A harsh word can't be taken back. A careless statement cannot be erased. But those 5 seconds, if you use them, can preserve your dignity, protect your relationships, and most importantly, keep your self-respect intact. A strong person isn't the one who speaks first. A strong person is the one who holds back first. They know that just a few seconds of silence can change everything. Because while speaking is easy, purposeful silence reflects deep inner strength. And that restraint is what separates someone who merely reacts from someone who truly leads. Of course, you can't stop at just counting. You need to take it a step further. That step is retraining your mind so that every time you speak, it's a conscious, thoughtful decision. Imagine your brain as a group of muscles. It can be trained, shaped, and strengthened in any direction you choose. But like all muscles, if you don't exercise it, it weakens. And if you train it the wrong way, it develops bad habits. Most people act on impulse because they haven't developed the habit of pausing to consider consequences. They allow thoughts to instantly become speech without any filter. Each time this happens, they reinforce a negative response pattern. The more it repeats, the more deeply ingrained it becomes, and eventually it turns into a reflex that's hard to break. But here's the good news. You can change that. Everything starts with awareness. The moment you catch yourself about to say something out of anger, stress, or frustration, pause. Recognition is the first step. The sooner you catch yourself, the more power you have to change the outcome. Next time you're about to react, recall the feeling of regret you've experienced before. Remember that words can't be taken back. Remember that you are training your brain to respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. And each time you manage to pause, your brain learns a new path, a new reflex, a more mature version of who you are becoming. A simple way to practice this daily is to observe your inner dialogue. What do you usually say to yourself before you speak? Are they words of criticism, doubt, or anger? Or are they calm, clear, and confident thoughts? You might be surprised to realize that what you say to others often reflects what you've been saying to yourself. If your inner world is filled with negativity and doubt, your words will carry that energy. But if you have inner strength and steadiness, your words will reflect that power and control. So start with the small things. In everyday conversations, when someone asks you something that makes you feel uncomfortable or upset, don't respond immediately. Give yourself a tiny gap, one breath, one blink. A short pause, just enough to choose your words rather than just react. The more you practice, the more natural this becomes. You'll notice that you no longer get dragged into pointless arguments. You'll stop letting emotions dictate your speech. And eventually you'll find that even in the most stressful situations, you have the ability to remain calm and in control. Indeed, the more you train yourself to think before speaking, the more your words will reflect inner strength. And that strength will elevate you into a position of influence, inspiration, and trust. We've talked about the power of thinking before speaking, and how a single statement can shape how others perceive you. So the next question is, how do influential people speak differently from the rest? Have you ever noticed someone who, the moment they start speaking, the whole room seems to pause and listen? They don't have to shout, they don't beg for attention. Yet when they speak, all eyes turn toward them and every ear is ready. Why is that? It's not luck. It's not some natural born gift. The secret lies in the intentionality behind their words. Influential people understand that words are a precious asset, and they don't use them carelessly. They don't speak just to fill silence. They speak to create value, to connect, to inspire, and to open the door for something meaningful to happen. That's why their words carry weight, because every word is chosen carefully and nothing is wasted. So specifically, what makes their way of speaking stand out? First, they speak with clear intention. Every word serves a specific purpose. They don't talk merely to fill silence. They don't speak just to soothe their inner anxiety. Each word is carefully considered. Every sentence they speak propels the conversation forward. When they talk, they're building, not causing disruption. Second, they listen more than they speak. It might sound contradictory, but deep listening is precisely what forms the foundation of the power behind their words. When you genuinely listen, you understand what the other person needs and expects. So when it's your turn to speak, you can deliver exactly what the other person needs to hear. Not long-winded or indirect, just a few words that make the other person feel deeply understood. Third, they consistently maintain calmness. Even when everything around becomes chaotic, and people panic or let emotions take control, they remain composed. Not because they feel nothing, but because they choose not to let emotions dictate their words. This composure gives their communication strength. Their words come not from panic, but from clarity, commanding respect from others. Finally, they have absolute faith in what they're saying. They don't speak hesitantly or appear confused. They believe in the value of the message they carry, and this confidence radiates to the listener. The decisiveness in their words makes others trust them, as you can't convince someone if you doubt yourself. So, if you want your words to carry the same power, where do you begin? Start with simple habits. Speak intentionally, listen carefully before responding, remain calm regardless of pressure, and speak confidently about the value you bring. You'll be surprised to see others start listening more closely, respecting you more, simply because you've mastered how you speak. The truth is, how you use your words determines how others perceive you. Someone whose words carry weight will always be remembered. Words aren't just sounds, they carry energy. And that energy can either uplift someone or break them down. Have you ever noticed how the atmosphere in a room completely changes when someone walks in? One person can make a space warm and pleasant just by their presence, while another can make the room feel heavy without even saying a word. This happens because words don't just convey information. They carry the energy of your mind, emotions, and mental state. Negative words, complaints, criticism, or insults are heavy and wear down the listener's spirit. They create tension, heaviness, and emotional fatigue. The more negativity you express, the more you dim the light in any room you're in. Negative words don't only affect others, they also reflect back onto you. Regularly complaining or criticizing programs your mind to focus on negativity. The more you focus on the negative, the more negativity you see around you. Your words mirror this outward. Conversely, positive, encouraging, supportive, and loving words carry entirely different energy. They uplift others and also make you feel lighter and more energized. Positive words act like a light shining into a dark room, making everything more pleasant and hopeful. People with genuine influence never underestimate this. They remain aware that every word they speak either adds life or drains it. They choose to give life. They speak to build rather than destroy. They speak to inspire rather than instill doubt. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what kind of energy do your words typically bring? Are you saying things that make the atmosphere around you better, or are you inadvertently darkening it? The answer to that question affects not just your relationships, but your mood, health, and daily beliefs as well. Imagine walking into a brightly lit room. Before you've even spoken, the atmosphere shifts because of your facial expression, breathing, and how you smile. This invisible energy guides your visible words. Before uttering your first sentence, remind yourself of 3 key questions. Am I lighting things up or extinguishing them? Am I contributing solutions or causing confusion? Am I building bridges or walls? Starting with positive energy ensures your words resonate clearly and attract similar energies back to you. Gradually, your reality reshapes itself. Opportunities open. Relationships flourish. Success naturally finds its way to you. Think of your words as raindrops falling onto the lake of your life. Gentle drops create ripples that spread wide, reach the opposite shore, reflect, and return to you. Each drop is a word. Each ripple the energy. If you sow anger, harsh waves splash back and drench you. If you sow optimism, the calm water carries warm echoes back to your soul. The simple truth is this: the energy behind your words ultimately shapes the world around you. By speaking positively, you become a magnet for success, influence, and respect. Self-discipline, the foundation of powerful words. Mastering your words isn't merely about choosing elegant expressions. It involves self-discipline, the ability to hit pause when your instincts urge you to explode. In moments when your heart races and breath quickens, undisciplined individuals let emotions drive their words recklessly. In contrast, disciplined people slow down, observe the road ahead, and then choose a safe and wise direction. Think back to your last argument. An undisciplined mind often reacts with anger, hurling sharp words that worsen the situation. Conversely, a disciplined mind takes a deep breath, counts silently, organizes thoughts, and responds calmly. What could have been a confrontation transforms into a dialogue. Tension becomes a bridge rather than a barrier. The beauty of this discipline is that it can be practiced daily in boardrooms, coffee shops, family dinners, even in traffic jams. Every time you pause before speaking, your brain learns to prioritize reason over impulsive emotion. Over time, a new reflex emerges. You respond rather than react. You no longer spin out of control at every provocation. Instead, you steer conversations toward your desired outcome. Self-discipline in speech isn't meant to make you perfect. It gives you the power to choose wisely. You realize the quality of your spoken words shapes the quality of your life. The more disciplined you become, the more your relationships flourish, your reputation strengthens, and your leadership qualities clearly emerge. Discipline nurtures trust others place in you and your own trust in your self-worth. Words in relationships, building bridges or digging holes. Words form the foundation of every connection, from the closest relationships to fleeting social interactions. Each word you choose is like laying a brick ere you building another layer of intimacy, or inadvertently creating deeper cracks. Remember a sincere compliment that strengthened your friendship or harsh words that created a chilling distance that took considerable time to repair. Words can ignite war or sign peace treaties within seconds. When you communicate with respect and careful consideration, you send a clear message. I value your feelings and perspectives. You listen first, respond later. You sculpt your words like an artisan shaping a statue, ensuring each word lands precisely where it needs to. The result? Others open their hearts, trust grows, and you receive the respect you give. However, if you speak without thinking, your words become invisible blades. The wounds may fade, but emotional scars remain. Trust diminishes, distances grow, and your influence wanes. Do you want others to hesitate every time they talk to you? Or do you want them to feel safe and supported? Imagine your relationships as suspension bridges over a flowing river. Each positive word is a steel cable strengthening the bridge. Each careless remark cuts a cable. Eventually the bridge won't hold if you continually weaken its anchors. Thus, before speaking, ask yourself, is this sentence adding a cable or cutting one? Words also reflect self-respect. How you speak to others directly reveals how you view yourself. People who value themselves do not allow disrespect to seep into their speech. They understand that the most powerful words are those spoken to oneself. Therefore, they choose words that elevate, not hinder. We've clearly seen how positive energy attracts, discipline steers conversations, and words nurture all relationships. Now, as we continue our journey in mastering speech, we approach the final tool that transforms theory into a natural reflex. What's the specific secret to training your brain to pause before impulsive words escape? The answer awaits us on page 3, where you'll discover a simple yet powerful practice capable of profoundly transforming how you communicate and the outcomes you achieve. Let's move forward. An uncontrolled word can break relationships, cost you opportunities, and lead you into prolonged regret. But the consequences don't stop there. When you consistently speak without thinking, you unintentionally create emotional distance between yourself and those around you. People might forgive, but they rarely forget. A sharp word can deeply embed itself in the memory of the listener, becoming a wound not easily healed. Over time, those silent injuries erode trust. Relationships that once were close begin to fracture. Conversations become awkward, and the influence you once had gradually fades away. In fact, the issue isn't solely about what you say, but also about how you say it. Your tone, your facial expressions, your eyes, and most importantly, the intention behind your words all carry weight. When you speak with kindness, empathy, and clarity, you're not merely conveying a message. You're creating a space where the other person feels respected, heard, and safe enough to reveal their true selves. Interestingly enough, when someone feels genuinely valued, they respond with trust, support, and kindness in return. They become open and sincere when entering a relationship with you. So, if you're seeking deep, lasting, and meaningful connections, start by mastering your words. The most beautiful relationships don't arise from luck. They are built through intentional conversations. It's the skill of thoughtfully expressing your thoughts, listening wholeheartedly, and choosing words that nurture connections rather than cause harm. So ask yourself this: are the words you speak each day building bridges or unintentionally erecting walls? Are your words strengthening connections or quietly creating distances? The wonderful thing is, you have complete power to change this. The ability to enhance your relationships lies in your hands and begins with the words you choose to speak. Because the simple truth is this: the quality of your relationships directly mirrors the quality of your communication. When you choose to speak with love, empathy, and understanding, you'll witness the connections in your life becoming deeper, more authentic, and more meaningful than ever. Now, let's look at another angle. Words don't just shape external relationships, they also reflect how you perceive yourself. Have you ever noticed that the way you speak to others reveals your own level of self-esteem? Words are a mirror, reflecting your inner world. If you frequently speak self-critical or self-deprecating statements or allow others to address you disrespectfully, it's a sign that you haven't fully recognized your own worth. People with high self-esteem don't easily allow others to diminish them verbally, nor do they hurt themselves by speaking negatively about their own character. They understand that words not only impact others, but also imprint deeply upon their subconscious mind. Every time you say something positive about yourself, you're sending a message that you are worthy. You're capable, valuable, and strong enough to achieve what you desire. The remarkable thing is, when you begin to believe that, the world around you gradually starts to reflect this belief. Conversely, when your speech is filled with doubt, negativity, or self-criticism, you're silently programming your brain to believe you're not good enough. You start believing that you don't deserve happiness, success, or recognition. Consequently, this belief affects your behaviors, your choices, and how others treat you. Imagine you're speaking with someone you deeply respect. How would you choose your words? Wouldn't you use a gentle, kind, encouraging, and loving tone? You certainly wouldn't scold or insult that person. So why do you speak harshly to yourself? The way you speak to others reveals how you perceive them. But the way you talk to yourself clearly demonstrates how you value yourself. Therefore, if you're on a journey to boost your self-esteem, start by changing your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself as you would speak to your closest friend, gently, lovingly, encouragingly, and empathetically. Because the words you say to yourself form the foundation that shapes your inner belief. And this isn't limited to emotions alone. It directly influences your success. Every success story begins with something seemingly small, belief. This belief is strengthened day by day, hour by hour, through the words you speak. Whether you're dreaming of career success, yearning for fulfilling relationships, or simply seeking inner peace, your words guide your direction. Every word you choose can move you closer to your goals or pull you backward. Success doesn't happen randomly. It's the outcome of deliberate actions. And your words are part of this chain of actions. When you speak with clear goals in mind, you align your mindset and behaviors in one direction. Every word becomes a step toward the best version of yourself. By speaking about possibilities, vision, and a positive future, you cultivate a mindset that attracts positive outcomes. Conversely, if your words constantly highlight limitations, failures, and difficulties, you're narrating a story filled with struggle and helplessness. You stop being the victorious main character and become someone stuck in the stream of life. The words you use daily either empower you or drain your inner belief. Which type of words are you choosing? We've just discussed how your words can be building blocks for success, yet they can also erect barriers that hinder your progress. Because the opposite is equally true. If you use your words to complain, belittle yourself, or repeat doubts, you're gradually dismantling your belief in your own potential. Every time you say things like, "Life is too hard, I don't know how to get through this," or "I'm not sure I can do it," you're telling yourself a story. Unfortunately, this story revolves around struggle, being stuck, and failure. Do you know what happens when a story is repeated daily? It becomes a belief. This belief roots itself in your mind, causing you to view the world through a lens of limitation instead of potential. Meanwhile, the most successful people you know didn't achieve everything by chance. They deeply understand the power of words. They use their words as tools to reinforce a winning mindset. Even when faced with setbacks, they don't let words drag them down. They don't waste time complaining or wallowing in past mistakes. Instead, they focus their language on goals, solutions, and lessons learned from challenges. They speak about the path they're walking, not the holes they've fallen into. They speak confidently, even without immediate results, because they know every word sends a signal to their mind, and the universe saying, "I'm moving forward." Thus, each word becomes a brick that builds their future. They don't focus on limitations. They focus on possibilities. They don't talk about what can't be done, but about how to make it possible. Even when pretending that everything is fine, they are still choosing to speak positively, not to deny difficulties, but to reframe how they confront them. Because they understand that when you speak about something as if it's already a reality, you're rewiring your brain to believe it. In other words, they're not using words to expose fear, but to reinforce their inner strength. What about you? How are your words shaping your vision? Are you paving a path forward, or boxing yourself within invisible limits? Are you speaking like someone aware of their worth and capabilities, or like someone overshadowed by doubt and exhaustion? The simple truth is this: the words you speak today form the foundation for the life you'll have tomorrow. Speak with clear intention. Speak with confidence. And soon you'll realize that success is no longer distant, but a natural result of a mindset nurtured by the right words. But it doesn't stop there. Did you know your words not only shape your future, but can directly impact your health? Surprising, isn't it? But think carefully about it. The words you speak, especially to yourself, are not merely sounds vanishing into the air. They are powerful signals sent into your mind, emotions, and even every cell in your body. Scientists have demonstrated that when you continuously speak negatively about yourself or your life, saying things like "I'm bored," "I'm tired," or "nobody understands me," your brain reacts as though you're genuinely in a state of emergency. Your body releases stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline, your heart rate increases, your immune system is compromised, you feel exhausted, heavy, and easily irritated. A vicious cycle begins. The more negative you speak, the weaker your body becomes. The weaker you feel, the easier it is to speak negatively, further draining your energy. It's a trap many fall into without realizing it. But here's the good news: you can change that by simply changing your words. When you start speaking positively, using words filled with hope, gratitude, encouragement, and love, your brain responds entirely differently. It releases beneficial chemicals such as dopamine and serotonin. These substances help you feel good, calm, focused, and stronger. Your immune system is boosted. Your body recovers quicker, your mood stabilizes. Remarkable, isn't it? Just by altering the way you speak, you can completely transform how your body reacts to life. And this isn't just true for your interactions with others. Most importantly, it's true for your conversations with yourself. Pay close attention. When you face difficulty, what do you tell yourself? "I can't overcome this," or "I'll be fine, I just need a little more time." "I'm terrible," or "I made a mistake, but I'm learning and will do better." You speak to yourself more than anyone else does. So, if you're constantly criticizing, condemning, comparing, or belittling yourself, how can you expect a strong spirit or a healthy body? Every word you utter, whether whispered internally or spoken aloud, sends messages to your brain saying, "This is what I believe, this is how I live." Your brain won't argue. It will agree and act accordingly. This explains why people who habitually encourage themselves tend to be optimistic, resilient, and more capable of bouncing back from difficult situations. It's not because things are inherently easier for them, but because they've chosen words that strengthen them daily. When you say, "I can handle this," you ignite your internal strength. When you say, "I'm getting better every day," you plant seeds of recovery and growth. This is the power of words over your health. They can heal or harm. They can lift you up or pull you down. But the choice is always yours. Your body is listening. Over time, what you say is recorded, accumulated, and gradually becomes your reality. So, ask yourself again, what do your words say about your health? Are you breathing life into yourself, or are you adding to your fatigue, anxiety, and exhaustion? Remember, sometimes just changing how you speak can change your entire journey.